Yeah, we suck.
This is LA Kings Fan Talk with your boys, Rodney, Rob, and Darren.
What's up, Kings fans? Yes, it's true. The Kings suck again as they lose 3 games in a row to the Flames, the Oilers, and the Wild. Darren, what is wrong with our Kings?
Yeah, I mean, I think we played pretty poorly. We're playing against good teams too, which I think is part of the answer. And our team is so young. I think we're not ready for these playoff type games. And you're seeing those 3 things are kind of melding together, and that's kind of just not a good look when you're in a playoff hunt 10 games out. So I think that's the biggest issue.
Rob, what do you think?
I'm looking at, we lose to Calgary, we lose to Edmonton, we lose to Minnesota. 3 of the 5 hottest teams in the West. We're still very young. We're still very injured. And with the exception of today's game, we were very much in those 2 losses to Calgary and Edmonton. Hell, if we don't spot them a goal at the beginning, we actually probably win that Edmonton game, right?
Was it Edmonton or Calgary?
I mean, Calgary.
Yep.
Calgary.
Yeah, good chance.
It was Goudreau
Yeah.
that threw it at his feet. So we lose some cushion that we have now that things are all even. We have to wake up. We have to start playing better, and this is when schedule will come into play because of the 5 teams that we're going to be fighting for, a couple spots. I believe it's going to come down to 5 teams for basically 3 spots. Our schedule is pretty favorable.
Yeah, we only have one playoff team on our schedule, which is great.
Yeah, so we'll go over that in a sec. But, yeah, we suck. But I think it has a lot to do with we played 3 very good playoff hot teams. And I will, for the first time, use it. But we are banged up, and we're looking small, young, and dumb right now.
Right. Yeah, I'll take it a step farther. I'll say our first power play unit sucks. Our defensemen suck right now. Our goaltending sucks right now. Everything sucks.
No. We never thought we'd be here in the first place. April 10th. Where are the Kings? I think a lot of people would say 5th place.
If you go back,
6th place.
If you go back and you look at all the season preview shows out there, almost nobody picked the Kings to even, be in the running for the playoffs. Even though they all picked the Kraken, but so
yeah, I mean, I think we all thought they would be like where Vancouver is, kind of like nipping at everyone's heels. There's a prayer to get in, but most likely it's just kind of it's kind of a dream. But we could still be playing meaningful games in April. But now we actually are playing meaningful games, and we need to get points out of them.
I think people thought it would be reversed. We're sitting here trying to hold on to a playoff spot with all the young kids in our lineup, where I think people envisioned it backwards, where we would be trying to make a push for a playoff spot with all the young kids proving themselves down in the AHL. And right now I kind of want to just get rid of all these damn kids and have everyone healthy again and play like we were playing 3 weeks ago.
So
yeah, I think
so
I said,
did we get rid of the play the kids and start going play the vets? Is that our new chant for the rest of the year?
You know, Rob, I'm surprised when I said, I think it was like 3 or 4 shows back, I was like, hey, we can mix up the lines. We can just play anyone with everyone. And then we started getting hurt, and I didn't want to say anything. Surprised I didn't get thrown in my face.
Yeah.
Because,
I knew it was your fault there.
It might be. Like, if you go back, I think it was right before we started getting injured. I was like, no, we can mix up the second line. We can tear it apart, play with everyone, and then...
Well, I have said multiple times about the seamlessness of the way our AHL defensemen have been coming in and playing with us. Like today's roster, just thought we were really small. Stetcher, when we first got him, I was like, okay, he could play with Edler and be seventh guy, but he's playing with Roy today. Edler's hurt. He's small. I'd rather see Strand play, especially against a bigger team like Minnesota. And now the seamlessness of an interchangeable of how our defense is, it's not there anymore right now. We're struggling. There are turnovers left and right. There's just guys floundering. The wrong guy, our goaltender, he flounders more than anything, and it's getting bad, and we need to fix it, and I'm hoping this soft schedule fixes it real quick for us.
And speaking of Stetcher, another thing I don't like is when he's not playing with Edler, you put him up there with Roy, and he's forcing Roy to play on his offside. I'd much rather see somebody like Moverare up there with him, which would add some size to the lineup. What do you think, Darren? Are you happy with the Kings' current forward and defensive line combinations right now?
I think the forward lines, I mean, you'd probably like to see Kaliev draw back in, but, I mean, who are you dropping out for him? Like, I think maybe it's Velarde. I don't know. He hasn't seemed to do... He's been playing, like, well with Byfield, but I don't think he's really done anything too much crazy. Defensively, yeah, I mean, if Edler's not hurt, which I don't think there's been any... I haven't seen anything saying he's hurt. He just isn't playing for whatever reason, and... You'd like to see Edler back in there with Stetcher if possible, or Moverare. Damn it, Rob! You get me calling him Moverare every time. Like you like
he's Italian.
Maybe
it's like Moverare.
I think Nixon calls him Moverara, and so you get like 4 different pronunciations. It's absurd, but you'd like to see him or Strand draw. And Strand seems to be able to play the left side, and again, we could use some size. I think. We really miss a guy like Doughty, like not production-wise. We have, 85% of his production with Dursey and Spence, but he's got that thing where games like today wouldn't happen, where he's got that "f you, I'm not losing" attitude, and no one else seems to have that yet, or they're not like exemplifying it for some reason. Like you would expect you would hope a guy like Kopitar could go, "Hey, no, we're not losing this game." But, as great as he is, he doesn't seem to have that quality. And none of the kids seem to. Dursey tries to, but, I don't think anyone really shows it too much.
And the Kings are not expecting Daddy back till what, playoff time? And then, Rob, what were you saying? That Anderson probably out for the year? Not even coming back at all?
I've been hearing whispers that he might be out for the year. Like he's not coming back even if we make the playoffs. I hope that's rumor. I hope that's not true, because boy, do we miss him.
Right.
Yep.
So who do you play with Daddy? Say Daddy comes back with a week left in the season. Just get into the playoffs. Who are you going to pair with Daddy?
So, I mean, we can work backwards. I think Roy and Mata worked really well together when they were the pair. And then you could do Dursey and Bjornfoot, or Dursey and Edler, whatever you think fits better, and then Doughty gets the other. I think that's probably the way it works. Like you kind of play it backwards.
Doughty and move rare.
You could do that too.
No,
I think he played well with him the one game.
I think Toby's a good enough skater to play at Doughty's speed.
I would just worry about Toby's turnovers and Doughty yelling at him on the bench, the amount of F-bombs you could hear from the microphones.
Some of that might be because he's playing with Dursey. Maybe he puts Bjornfoot in some bad positions where Doughty would not do that.
It's possible.
I know you're a huge Team Jersey guy, Darren, but he's been getting beat a lot and making some poor decisions, getting the puck taken away
Sell.
from him a lot lately.
Sell.
No, he's gonna be great for us in the future, but he's
No,
got
he's
a lot.
not.
You don't think so?
He's gonna be great for some other team in the future.
Oh, everybody. That's right. We're trading everybody now, right? Everybody's expendable when the Kings play like this.
I think you hope he has a future with us, but I agree with it's probably better asset management to just get rid of him, especially with the guys we have on that right side. Like, he's at his peak right now, value wise.
Well, you know what's going to happen now. Everybody's going to jump on the comments saying, Jersey's been our best player this whole year. How dare you say get rid of Jersey?
I think Spence has been better.
Ouch.
Wow.
Jersey's a -13 and fallen.
What is Spence? I don't have his numbers handy.
Spence is a minus, but he's -7.
And what was Strand when he was up with the Kings? Because we need some size in our defense.
Strand's only played 6 games. He's a -1 in those 6 games.
Sounds better than -7.
Yep. Speaking of defensemen, I think I read today Brant Clark needed help off the ice today and couldn't put any weight on one of his legs.
Oh, no.
I didn't see that. That's rough. Speaking about our prospects really quick, do you think we signed Faber? Is he the answer? Do we just sign him and play him immediately?
Rob Blake's in town to meet with Faber today or tomorrow, so he's going to find out what his future holds.
Do you think he's like, look at how bad we played. We need you on the right side.
He was at the game today.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
He's supposed to meet with Faber like tomorrow or something and talk about Faber's future. Does he come back because, his college team has a good chance of making a run at the national championship? Or does he come join our Kings and we trade one of your precious defensemen that are currently on the Kings right now, Darren?
I mean, the few minutes I watched like a period or so of that college game. He made like a really sweet play where he basically like bodied out 2 guys, got the puck along the wall, and got a nice breakout. And it's like those are the plays that, like, he's big enough to make those plays, I think, at the NHL level, and be fun to watch him. So,
well, we talked about our injured defensemen. Do we have any hope on the injury front for any forwards coming back? Who do we have left? AA, Brown.
Skating.
Yeah.
It might. We'll see.
Yeah, who do you take out and who do you plug in? When we were doing good, we're like, don't take anybody out. Now that we suck, is anybody up for grabs?
Yeah, I mean,
or is the answer? We can maybe Coach McClellan probably agree with this. Is the answer just to play Iafallo on every line and on both power plays? Will that help get us to the promised land?
I think we run 4D and just run 2 extra forwards.
I remember when we talked about that a long time ago. I was sitting there saying, here's how you solve your problems: is you
5
run,
lines or something.
You run 5 lines, and just 4D. McClellan's reluctancy to take Iafallo off of the power play is something I often wonder why. And I'm not part of the voice on social media that's sitting there saying fire McClellan 1 week after those exact same people were saying how great he should win the Jack Adams Award and all that stuff. It's just the fickleness of morons. And even if you're one of those ones, I've always said fire McClellan. Well, you're still a moron in my eyes, because here's a guy with structure that's brought some stability to an organization that has had, a high turnover rate in the coach's box, and he's doing a good job no matter how it is. However, I understand it's his decision. It's his watch that Iafallo is logging all these minutes on the power play. I just want to know why. Is there a reason for it, or is he really good in practice? Does does everything click in practice and it's just not transferring into the games? Is this, I'm loyal to my assistant coach Sturm, and is that loyalty biting us in the ass? I don't know, but that's the only issue I have.
Yeah, I would like to get a real answer other than hiding under he does all the little things.
Yeah,
That's all we were here.
because that's what they said about Kaliev. They've always praised the little things he does, and he found himself on the bench today. So if it could happen to Kaliev, can it happen to Iafallo? Or not at $4 million a year?
Maybe he did not detail the coach's car as well as Iafallo detailed it.
I do want to go over this. I want to go over our schedule and the schedules of the people we're fighting for a playoff spot with. I want you guys to count points, and then maybe we could figure out if we got a good chance still.
Let's do it.
All right, count these points. This is our remaining schedule. Chicago, Colorado, Columbus, Anaheim, Chicago, Anaheim, Seattle, Vancouver.
I'm hearing 10 to 12 points out of that.
10 to 12 points. Okay. Vegas. This is their schedule. Vancouver, Calgary, Edmonton, Devils, Washington, San Jose, Dallas, Chicago, St. Louis.
Yeah, it's
You
like
got-
8 to 10.
I'm hearing
probably.
around 10.
I don't know. I hear 10, 11
Yeah.
myself.
Also 10 to 12 for me on that one.
But 10, 11 puts them at the end of the season 2 points
Behind us.
behind us, right?
Yeah.
But who knows? Oilers. This is the Oilers. Minnesota, Nashville, Vegas, Dallas, Colorado, Columbus, Pittsburgh, San Jose, Vancouver.
Who knows with that team? That
Yeah,
could be,
and the Oilers, with the greatest player on the planet, playing as hot as they are, they got to be favored in every single. They got to be favored in every game they play, because
Yeah.
that's what's happening.
that their stuff all comes down to like, does Connor outscore the other team, or does their goalie play like shit and
Right.
get beat?
Now, here are the next two teams are really, really important for us, because if Vegas catches us, it means we have to finish in front of Dallas or Nashville. Nashville is a point ahead of us right now with a game in hand, with 2 games in hand. And Dallas is tied with us with 2 games in hand. So it's not looking great if Vegas catches us. So, but their schedules aren't all that great. So Dallas' schedule: Tampa Bay, Minnesota, San Jose, Vancouver, Edmonton, Calgary, Seattle, Vegas, Arizona, Anaheim. Now that doesn't sound like 10 points to me. So,
Yeah.
but with those game in hand, that
Right.
might put us right there with them. And then
Still, though,
and lastly,
Bird in the bush is worth 2 in the hand or whatever, or the opposite.
well, and it's like what you were saying off the air when we weren't recording. That the tiebreaker stuff, if we end up tying with all these guys in the standings, tiebreaker stuff does not favor us.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
we
then
have
last-
so many overtime points.
Right. And so lastly, we got Nashville, who they might be the odd man's out because they have a extremely tough schedule. San Jose, Oilers, Chicago, St. Louis, Calgary, Tampa Bay, Minnesota, Calgary, Colorado, Arizona.
Yeah.
7, 8
Yeah.
points out of
Right.
that? Because that's
About the only
tough.
fear counting their points is Calgary and Colorado in button it up mode. We're in the playoffs. No one gets hurt. Let's bring up a couple kids. Let's reward. I mean, Calgary is one of the least injured teams all season, I believe, and they're their AHL team, which we know is very good, and so maybe they call up a couple guys for a game or two to just kind of give them that, like, you did well, but we didn't have any spot for you this year because no one got hurt kind of bump, you know. But
Well, all I know is we just went over everyone's schedule. Our schedule does favor us a little bit, but
we
this
still
is
have to win the games.
the playoffs start now. Our wiggle room, our cushion is out the door. We have to match point for point, and in the end, be a point up because like the tiebreaker stuff's not gonna do well for us. So I think best case scenario for us is we just have to stay in front of Vegas no matter what, and then we won't have to worry about anything else.
I kind of hate that this is where we are now. You know, we should be sitting here talking about, yeah, the Kings just need to keep winning, and we don't care what the other teams do. But now we're sitting here looking for help from other teams. But
we don't need
kids,
help. We don't need
injuries.
help from other teams. We're still in the driver's seat. It's just our bus is broken down on the side of the road, and we better fix that shit and get back on the road. You know.
I think what they mean by we need help is that if we do exactly the same thing as the team chasing us catches us because they have a game in hand.
Well, Vegas doesn't, right?
Yeah, no, Vegas
now,
had a game in hand. So if they win that game in hand, that puts them tied with us, and they have more wins in regulation. We're screwed. So if Vegas wins out and we win out, we don't make it. But if we win out, you would think we would pass.
If we win out, I mean, what does that put us at? Like 104 points or something like that?
Exactly.
We don't make the playoffs. I don't think anybody would be mad with 104 points and not making the playoffs.
No, but you understand what I'm saying, though.
Yeah, for sure.
And I do want to call you out. If this is like deja vu again, I think. But you were saying 500 hockey puts us in, and 500 hockey is not going to put us in.
It's close. I mean, who knows what the line's going to be, but it looks like it's going to be more than 95. I mean, I think when did I say that? 2-3 podcasts ago, it was 95 points, but everyone looked like they were going to get 93, 92. So if we played 500, we get to 95, but 95's not good enough, which again is kind of a surprise. I feel like 95 and not making the playoffs is kind of rare for, you know, a while back. So
and just to finish up thoughts on the teams we just talked about, Dallas is playing well. They're 6-3-1 in their last 10. The Oilers are 7-2-1 in their last 10. Vegas is 7-3. Predators have lost their last 2. They're 5-4-1, and we've lost 3 in a row, 4-4-2. So right now we are the ones that are on the bad end of the streak stuff, but we got Chicago coming up next. They've lost 7 in a row. Hopefully we'll get some points right off the bat. So I got a question for you, Rod.
Let's hear it.
Since you're the one always asking the questions.
Can't wait.
We've always talked about 1A, 1B of our goalie situation. They're playing more like 2A and 2B. Is Cal Peterson your goalie?
Right now, I'm going to say no. Just has not looked the same ever since he signed that contract. This year in particular, it just has not looked good. If we're trying to make the playoffs, I have a little more faith in Quick getting us there. Once we're in the playoffs, Cal Peterson needs some playoff experience, but at the expense of all the kids getting more experience, I'm not sure. So I think I would keep playing Quick in the playoffs. We could hopefully win more games, thereby getting more experience for all of our young kids, our young forwards and defensemen. So I'm going to roll Team Quick.
I agree a bit. I think our playoff situation starts now. You know, we just spent this whole time talking about, are we even going to make it? Playoffs start now for us, and Quick is my goalie. I know Darren still wants to platoon things, or I'll let him answer that question himself. But as far as I know, is we got 9 games left. 8 games left.
9. 9.
and 2 of them are back to back. So Peterson plays one of the back to backs and the other back to back. And as far as I'm concerned, we need Quick in there and the whole team has to. When I mean playoffs start now, I mean we need to win games. Like they're must wins. We can't sit around and hope someone else wins, and we need to win. And Quick's the guy that can steal games for us, and it'll be that much easier too if everyone will sit there and pull their head out of their ass too.
Right.
See, to me, I think you still rotate him just because Cal's been really good against the bad teams. Like if you look at who he's played against, his record is built upon, we play Columbus one night and New York, the Rangers, the next night. If we're playing in that back-to-back, it's Cal's playing against Columbus because he plays to the level of his defense, and our defense has been pretty good this season for the most part. And I think he gives you what you get. And that's why I still think Quick should be our playoff goalie, because he's going to steal games for you. And he could still steal potentially even a series, I think. Like, I think he's still that good. But I think to get there, we still need to we still just keep going the way we have. I mean, if, knock on wood, we go another 3 games without winning, then yeah, sure, we can play Quick as much as we need to. But, I think for now we keep, maybe you play Quick 5 instead of 4, or 6 out of 3. I don't know. Like, I don't know what the schedule and the rest days look, but that's how I would do it.
Or do we do something no team has ever done before? Start a new trend in the NHL, and just every time we get scored on, we change the goalie. Just back and forth. It could happen 10 times in a game. It could happen once in a game, but would that motivate them to play better? Hey, the only way I'm getting playing time is if I do not let any goals in.
Make them change on the fly.
There you go.
That's
That'd
good.
be tight.
That's good.
Let's talk about some of the comments that we've had on the YouTube channel.
Let's do it.
There's a guy, he specifically talked about our young defense being NHL trade chips because they've all proven that they can play in the NHL, and I agree with the guy.
True.
He was talking about he would like to trade for an elite player, and that's been my feeling this whole time too. Is I don't want to trade for developmental guys that are still in the development stages. I want an elite player. I believe the guy mentioned Matt Barzal, and I was like, okay, make it happen. I mean, I'm willing to do that right now. Let's do it.
Let's get
I
Matt
think
Barzal. Well, let's package something together and get Tom Wilson over here.
Yeah, and then Tom Wilson would always be a great.
Who's got 2 more
addition.
goals than Deneau right now?
I don't think Kempe would want Wilson to come over to the team, because then Kempe wouldn't be the best looking guy on the team anymore. So
that's true. Who would be he would still be on the calendar, but he probably wouldn't be on the cover anymore, right?
He's like June.
He wouldn't have a dog. He wouldn't do the dog calendar stuff. He would just be butt naked and he'd win.
All right, so I think you're talking about, one of our comments were from Christopher Rohrer, and he's asking who is a left-handed defenseman on a modest contract for a bad team that needs to be moved besides Chikrin. Darren, do you have any answers for us?
Yeah, I think one that's, I said it before, it's Travis Sanheim from Philly. He's on a 4.65 or 4.675 deal for this year and next. I think he's just quietly one of the best, better defensemen, even on a bad team. He doesn't get power play or penalty kill time too much, but I think he's a good driver of play, and I think he'd be really good on our team.
Rob, what do you think?
Left-handed defenseman. The Sergachev kid from Tampa Bay intrigues me. He's making almost $5 million. He's 4.8. He has another year left on his contract. He's RFA afterwards, and I know Tampa Bay is still struggling with their cap issues.
Yeah, they have 3 guys on the left side that make like they have him, Hedman, and McDonough who make big money already. So
Correct. And that might be a reason why they maybe don't want to get rid of them because no. I mean, I was going to say because they're kind of old, but Hedman's fucking young still. He's 30.
McDonough's
31?
like 32, and he's the oldest one. Like
right.
he's
And so, but Sergachev is 23 years old, making under $5 million. I think he just needs space because he's really good. There's no, it's not a development thing with him. He's good.
yeah.
And I would love for him to come on over if there's a way we could trade chip some things for them, give them a right-handed ready defenseman, a right-handed prospect, throwing a cheap forward and a pick. Hell, I'd do whatever you can. I would love to get Sergachev on over.
Yeah. I think the only other guy would be like if we're going Islanders, if they're trying to tear it up, I think Pelech would be good too. I think he's signed till 2029, so that one would be a little bit more rough, but I mean he's good, solid top pair defenseman. So, but I like yours probably better than my two, but I think any of those three would probably be really good targets.
So speaking of our defensemen, the young kids are really struggling right now. So right now we're rolling Roy, Stetcher, Mata, Spence, Toby, and Dursey. You think we need to make some moves? Not make some moves, but do we need to bring up Strand, maybe Moverare, and add some size to the lineup, or do you keep rolling with what we have out there? What do you think, Rob?
If you're going to ask me, do we get bigger? I'm always going to want to get bigger on the back end. Like I said, today's game, it would have been great to have Moverare and Strand in there. When you're looking at Oli Mata is your biggest defenseman, and Oli Mata doesn't play big. On top of that, I wouldn't be opposed to, hey, Spence's got plenty of experience. He's gotten the taste. We know what we got in him. We could keep rotating. It's not like if these guys are going out there and they're Cale Makar already.
Right.
They show their flashes. Okay, flash. Hey, let someone else go flash, because they're not doing it on a consistent basis. It's the whole reason why I was okay with them sitting Kaliev today. Kaliev is a fourth line guy. They're sitting a fourth liner. It's not like if Kaliev is a threat to score every single game. Otherwise, he kind of would have been scoring every other game, right?
Right.
They're still young. They still got a lot of learning to do, and they're learning as they go. And if that means sit Spence, if that means sit Dursey, hey, you're minus 17 right now. Let's just take a day off, catch your breath, and then put in a big guy. Put in Moverare. Put in Spence.
As Rod would say, let's get you a smaller chain.
Yeah. So, it is what it is.
I'd like to see something like, if you're pulling Spence out, throw a Strand in there. If you're pulling a Stetcher out, throw a Moverare in there, playing with Roy. Something like that, until we hopefully get Doughty back at the end of the season.
Yep, and then if Edler comes back, a little healthier again, throw Stetcher back in there.
Right.
Let Stetcher play with Edler, and if Edler's not going to be in the lineup, well, let's play some of our other guys then.
Yeah.
Because I think we got Stetcher specifically to play with Edler. I personally believe that, but
yeah, we got him to play with Edler, and because we were scrapping for defensemen, like
right.
We were scraping the bottom of our barrel. So I think for sure we could use a guy like Moverare or Strand in there every once in a while. Like I think, like you said, like Spence is good, but it's not like his minute of power play time can't be replaced by someone else. When we take 6 power plays and he gets 10 seconds per power play, it's not going to kill us to throw a different defenseman out there. So
it's almost like Edler is Batman and Stetcher is Robin. When Batman's out, I don't think Robin plays that well with anybody else.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
I can talk about a positive, and that's our special teams. Surprisingly, we are
wait. Special teams is our positive? I thought that was the worst thing about our team.
It was for a while and a long time, but we are plus 10 the last 10 games.
So overall, if you look at our stats, we still suck. But over the last 10 games, we're looking pretty good. However, that's not translating into over 500
wins.
hockey.
Yeah, which is odd. We are a better. Before we were good on special teams, these last 10 games, we were a better 5-on-5 team. Like if we were 0, if special teams battle was a 0, we were a better 5-on-5 team, which is kind of crazy to me. So
the anomaly of that number is because our 5-on-5 play has sagged so low that our special teams play now almost becomes irrelevant because we're just that poor 5-on-5. If our 5-on-5 numbers were anywhere near what they normally are, that special team play should translate into more victories, but it just isn't right now. So,
I think I've given up on McClellan taking Iafallo off the power play. So at this point, I'm just hoping he swaps power play unit 1 and 2. I think that would help us a lot. Power play unit 2 actually moves the puck around, gets some shots on goal.
Just play Trevor Moore all special teams.
Right.
It's just anytime we're on special teams.
I just realized something. We're doing this for a second time because somebody, our producer, forgot to hit the record button. So we're doing a lot of this stuff repeat for tonight. And we had a rant during the non-recorded version. We went on a rant about I went on a rant about Carlin Bathe and Alex Faust. All I know is when the Kings are playing terribly, Alex Faust irks me even more. I want to throw my remote through my TV.
Because what, Rob?
He's anti-King. He literally roots for the other team. And here's an example. You heard it too because we talked about this together. Deneau got hurt. He got hit in the hand with puck. And Deneau goes off. And he goes down the tunnel. And he comes back a couple shifts later. And Alex Faust makes a comment, says, "Oh, Jimmy, that's good for you." Why is it good for Jimmy?
Right.
Because Jimmy's a Kings fan?
And then he paused and he thought about it. He's like, "Oh, my cover's almost blown. Oh, and it's also good for everybody else too." Remember that?
Right, but notice it wasn't good for him.
Yeah.
I think I said this before. Faust would be good on a national broadcast.
Yeah, 100%.
Everybody says it. Yeah.
Like
he's good. He's good at his job.
He's technically good as an announcer.
Yeah,
but
sure.
Yes, as a
he's not fun he's not as fun as some of the other like play-by-play guys who have been fans of the team for 40 years and
All right, Kings fans, that is our show for today. Until next time, go Kings, go.
Go Kings.
Go Kings.